were watching the basketball game later, and then so we saw the Florida Art Craft, Florida LSU game.
Yep.
You see that?
Oh, that was bad. But I'll tell you what I tell everyone else about this mask, if you give me grief about it. It was free, and I'll happily wear a hog's mask if someone gives me one, but like I have no preference for this particular sports team. It was just a free mask, and like I said, it's got the really comfy elastic so it doesn't hurt my ears, so. That's just where I stand as far as my mask. It's not a statement, it's comfortable.
Gotcha.
But everyone who's giving me grief about it, I said, well, give me a hog's mask, I'll wear it. No one has given me one, so I'll continue to wear the LG mask. Because it was free. Like I said, it's comfy. Some of the fashion police who wore better, Amanda or Betty.
Oh, wow.
I would say Betty because I'm more scared of Betty than I am of Amanda.
No, she said that on a lot of things.
I did up my game a little. But good thing as always, pink is really lovely. But it looks good on you.
Right, wrong, that's
No, I can't do it because I care about you. But if I didn't like you, I would not try to do your thing.
why. Okay, I'm gonna find out.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, it is 5 o'clock on the dot, so we'll call this meeting to order. We have a quorum, all commissioners are present. And we'll begin with the pledge of allegiance. And Mr. Kennedy, I think it's your turn to get the pledge, if you will not learn.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, previous meeting minutes. I did see that we just got an email from Betty. So I haven't had a chance to review at least that meeting minutes, but, and I did also note that one of the meeting minutes that was sent was the very, very long meeting that we had. For commissioners.
I think we need to do our due diligence because there is a statutory requirement that meeting minutes have to be filed with the county clerk after 10 days. And if it's not already done, over and over and over.
No, well, I'm just letting you know, I want to go through these, but I will note that we just got one a few minutes ago.
Is it one of these?
Is the 18th of
The 18th, was the one we just got a few minutes ago. But, so, with that said, let's start with the 13th. And this is the 13th going on to the 14th. So the 13th, the 16th, and the 18th. So my question for commissioners are, do we need a minute? Do we already have, are there edits?
I've already reviewed the 13th and the 16th. I'm not even looked at the email since we just received it a while ago.
I believe I looked down and I believe I was in the car driving here. At least for myself. I got out of the car and saw this. So I for sure I'll put that. I think there's a mistake on unmute on, who's reading page 2. Up, carry over to paragraph. I recall,
Which one are you on?
the 13th.
I'm on the 18th.
Okay, I'll let you guys review it then. Let me get there.
I have to say, we had, Amanda, do you remember what the undervotes were for the unopposed candidates?
I don't recall, I'm sorry.
It's pretty high, wasn't it?
Right. For which race?
Yeah, here we go, what was
The
that?
unopposed candidates.
Oh,
In November 3rd?
I'm gonna pull it up, if you
Do you
want.
mind?
I'll be right back.
Thank you. Have a point. So we did a correction on December 18th. You are reviewing that, correct, Commissioner Price?
Which one?
December 18th,
November 18th?
November 18th?
Yes, I'm ready.
December 18th. The next to last page, under certification LNA obtained,
Mm-hmm.
when I was talking about overvotes,
Yes.
it says the DS 200 will allow a voter to mark more than one candidate. However, this is not possible on a paper ballot. That should say an express vote.
Correct. That is correct.
Okay, so the DS 200 would not allow, so Betty, if you're listening, on November 18th, on the next to last page, on the paragraph, next to last paragraph, on line 1, 2, 3, 4, is it the DS 200? There's someone at the door. It says the DS 200 will allow a voter to mark more than one candidate. However, this is not possible on an express vote. That's what it should read. Thank you.
Thanks for that correction, Commissioner Story.
We're just going through, we got a stack of meeting minutes, we got a welcome. I personally don't have it right here with me, but
Monday, that came, that we, people can get.
the ones that needed ID, I'm sure absolutely we have that list. I bet if you ask Mr. Camp right now, he can get that for you.
Is it, does it tell what type of ID they show?
Don't believe so.
No, I don't think I've seen that, but as Mr. Camp, and then also, yeah, Mr. Jason Kennedy's up, is on the, our other corner, like, I think it's almost like the boxing ring on the far corner, of Mr. Kennedy. So Mr. Kennedy's with the service office, but either Mr. Camp right there or Mr. Kennedy on that side.
Okay.
I should be able to provide that information.
That's fine. I'm just curious.
Sure.
The charitable balance has to,
Just something I want to note about the November 18th minutes, is that we had,
The list that are curable,
the ones
just something to
that.
think about,
I
we want to ever
I
present.
have 2 names.
I have a huge bunch of them, but
Liz,
we had 49,605 under votes
Mhm.
There were,
in the
I know they were set up,
and that's
and I
a
know
huge
that
number.
if you came up there.
And I think the reason for that is because we changed the law, that we didn't put those candidates on the ballot to save space. There are people that do not want to vote for unopposed candidates.
Right.
They want to not vote for unopposed candidates. It took away their ability to do that. And that's something to think about.
Mhm.
Okay, well,
That's a huge number,
thank you.
It is.
49,605.
so, okay. Okay,
She couldn't hear.
okay, we've got a meeting going on, that's live streaming right there, so this may interfere with what they're doing.
Thanks, thank you.
Thank you.
Perfect.
I've got a couple notes for November 13th, after reading it again, I've got some changes. Betty, she in the other room.
Yeah, she's listening. So what page?
November 13th, unnumbered page 2, back to 13th. On the fourth line down,
First paragraph, second paragraph.
the top carryover paragraph, second or third, it was determined that Mr. Clement cannot be appointed election official of Classic County because he is not a resident of this county. Was that the determination? I thought it had to be a Arkansas
No, just if you were.
resident of the county. Was that, okay. And then that next, then the following paragraph, James Clement to comment, after some discussion, Commissioner Starr moved to accept the assistance of James Clement and to appoint him as an election official ad hoc.
No, I'm the consultant.
Yes, that's what I thought.
No, read the next line. Commissioner Price suggests the motion be amended to have Mr. Thurman to serve as an expert consultant.
But I don't recall, Commissioner Starr saying,
And then these were.
yes, that's,
So not the word ad hoc,
No,
but as an election official, or? Because I remember I suggested if you would entertain a friendly amendment to have him serve as an expert consultant. So what did you recommend to be appointed as initially then?
I don't know, but not ad hoc.
yeah, I know that's wrong. That's absolutely not what it said. So that needs to be corrected.
I'm not sure what that, we have to review. but
Yeah,
I would change it to Commissioner Starr moving to accept the assistance of Jamie Clemmer.
I think whatever
Period.
the tape said.
right.
Whatever the tape said.
And so I would,
Because we already talked about how it couldn't be an election official. So
Yeah, we know that.
why would you move to that? Like, you would make a motion for that.
no. So that needs to be fixed because that's wrong.
I mean, you just say appoint as election official, because that's what that was what was stated. And then Commissioner Frost suggests the motion be meant to have him serve as elected expert consultant.
So take that off. Just take that election official period.
Yes.
Okay, election official period, and then remove the rest of that sentence. Also, at the bottom, second to last sentence, I did not send Mr. Clemmer a text. I sent an email through my Pulaski County email.
What, are you still in the same paragraph?
Same paragraph. Gomez sent a text message. I did not text Mr. Clemmer. I sent him an email. I have, so then moving on to the third unnumbered page. Kind of the middle paragraph where it has the meeting recess, meeting resumed, and that next paragraph. The very last sentence, although the decision was made for these to be counted, the list of names were not provided right before the poll workers pulled the ballots by the clerk's office. That's not what happened at the meeting. I don't know if it's appropriate to add commentary to meeting minutes. And indeed, that was incorrect because we had voted on that. That was provided.
You just want to strike that sentence.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's completely wrong.
Just strike that sentence.
Take it out. And then moving on to the next, the fourth unnumbered page, is that the next page? Second to last page. The meeting resumed, the very last single line above it says certification of the November 3rd general election, which quite frankly, we need to change that because that title is not correct. But meeting resumed at 3:34 p.m. No, it was a.m. We didn't have a 12-hour gap. And that next section, title, certification of the November 3rd, 2020 general election, that wasn't a thing. We weren't, and the first sentence, commissioners were going to attempt to certify the final election results. That's not part of the meeting minutes, and that's not anything. So that section, that title needs to be gone, because that's not a thing, and that first sentence needs to be gone, because that's also not a thing.
That's fine. Good.
Also,
Just say a box containing.
Yeah, we were actually trying to upload a, we don't have.
no, go ahead, go for it, go ahead.
No, you have someone trying to speak.
Oh,
right.
Public comment.
I put in,
Mr. Sedona, we'll get you just a minute. Let's get through this, and then we'll give a chance to do public comment. We'll get to you, I promise. We will get to you. Christie, go ahead. Or Commissioner Sarver.
This would be, we were trying to do election hour reporting.
Yeah, this is yeah, so we're gonna have a title, elect ENR, could be a possible title.
Yeah, this was for tabulating, for actually uploading the results.
Yes, Bryce, do you hear that?
That's fine.
So if we're gonna have a title there, we'll say, upload, what do you want to say?
It's
Uploading
uploading the results
results.
to ENR. So this is, so we're in the room to upload the results. I mean, that's what we're supposed to do.
Yes, that's what we're doing. We weren't certifying the general election that day. We were uploading the results. That was why we were sticking around to get all the results. And then this was before, and just, I think I heard Bryce say that, say iBox.
Yeah, just capitalize that box containing the regular absentee ballots, et cetera, what's your name?
And once again, this additional commentary on what happened is not going to be in the minutes. The minutes are what happened. And this 3 or 4 ballots that were marked as irregular that needed to be reviewed by the clerk's office, is that trying to refer to the envelope that was found under the box? Because it doesn't talk about the envelope that was found under the box.
There were also 3 or 4 ballots in an envelope.
Information needs to just state that there was a box of ballots that was in the room that was not secure, and there was exactly what was stated in the meeting, and there was a envelope of absentee ballots.
But it does say neither the box nor the envelope were sealed.
Yeah, it also was in a room that was not secured.
But there was, I guess, the information that's not reflective of the discussion. The
Yes.
box was in the server and tabulation room, which it says only the 6 members of staff have the key to, but that was never established. So there's a lot, there's just information. I don't know, this was a thing of missing from Betty.
No, this is not what 18 was. Right, so.
The meeting minutes just reflect the information, the general information from the actual meeting.
All this additional commentary is not what happened. So takes the whole sentence out, obviously. With only 6 members of the staff as a key, you take that off. That wasn't part of the minutes. No. What happened?
Because if we say that, then we have to add, there was discussion regarding who else possibly had a key that was
Right.
never established. I mean, you just have to go into a whole different, that's a long discussion.
Just leave that part out,
Yeah, take that out.
because we didn't discuss that.
Yeah, the box was in the server tabulation room, period. Okay, also that next sentence is awkward because it doesn't make sense as to who he is. Is that Pope?
Yes.
Which one? Right.
That we crossed off. So the commissioners expressed their dissatisfaction at these ballots being kept in the room, that he failed to complete the requested task. That sentence doesn't make sense to me.
Just take out key and replace that with directory vote.
Any other changes to that particular paragraph? Doesn't have a lot going on there.
So we are renaming the headline.
Uploading results to ENR.
Okay, we're moving the first sentence. We're going to start with a capital A box containing irregular absentee ballots, etc. There are also 3 or 4 ballots, I'm going to say that were in an envelope marked as irregular that needed to be reviewed by the clerk's office. Neither the box nor the envelope were sealed.
I would just say
How about
ballots.
the envelopes that were reviewed by the commissioners?
Yes, it did.
I thought those
The envelope said for commission review. Also,
That was
what's-
not being reviewed by the clerk's office.
I thought those were ballots that we didn't have the the application and have a clean
Because they don't
copy.
get reviewed by the clerk's office.
There's also something really big that was left off in this paragraph, and that was the fact that Poe wrote in information on one of the applications, the absentee ballot applications, from that box, and had written in the information on the copy that is filled out by the voter.
We're missing the 175.
So that needs to be included, because that's a big problem.
There was a whole long discussion about 175. We had an issue with, we should have 1,421. We had a tabulation in 1,258. We had discovered was exemption 5. That whole thing is in here, and that is extremely important.
Correct.
That was.
So I would not be
And the
comfortable.
discussion of how we found the ballots, or missing 32, and how we discovered, how we got the spreadsheet, how we got the spreadsheet, started finding it, how we then discovered more. There's a lot of information that's in here, so this needs to be redone.
That absolutely needs to be done. I'm not comfortable approving these minutes as is. There's integral parts of the meeting that are missing.
Okay, that's actually, we can review that section.
Do you agree with that?
Sure, yes.
It just doesn't reflect the record.
Although we want to get these done in a timely fashion, they have to be accurate, and this is not, it's not close. But, never fear, whatever they do.
It was a 12-hour meeting.
It was, no, that's not a ding or negative on anyone, it's just, there's a lot that happened, but we need to make sure the important things are included. November 16th, you get a chance to take a look at those.
Yes, I'll review those.
Do you have any additions, deletions?
I do not.
Star, how about you? You say yes?
Yes.
Okay, so,
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from November 16, 2020, and November 18, 2020.
Second.
we're gonna wait on the 18th since we were sent it right before the meeting started.
You know,
Unless you had a chance to look at it.
That's okay.
No, 16th.
She just said the 16th and the 18th.
Hold on.
It was the 13th, but it's not.
I told you, it was sent right before that we got here, and I had a chance to look at it. Neither of you had any additions or changes to the evening?
Commissioner Starr had it, it's
She never
second.
fixed it, she gave it to us, it was one thing. It was, it said that you could vote on their ballot, you could vote for one candidate, and she fixed it to say that that is the one you could vote for multiple candidates on. Every ballot allows you to vote for multiple candidates in the same race, whereas on, but she already corrected it. So there's no-
All right, we're good. So we just have the 13th that's still outstanding, that needs some updated information on it.
Right.
Okay. So 13th, we'll take care of that at next meeting. Okay, December 1st, general election runoff. Original ballot hearing, we have anyone present for original ballot? I don't see anyone, unless any more guests have any original ballot, original ballot hearing. And Mr. Poe's absent. Mr. Camp, are you our surrogate Poe for the evening here?
I am here to answer what questions I can.
Okay. So you lead us through our, the general election runoff. I see we have a stack of information here. Well, first, we do have the provisional ballot hearing. Were we contacted as a step? The office contacted by anyone? Do we expect to be here?
No.
No? Okay. And I see that, Commissioner, any additional information about that?
None for me.
Okay.
Now my computer's doing something.
We look at that. Okay. Well, since we've got that in the hearing, we're done. So, Camp, lead us through the next thing, we certifying the official election results.
And I can tell you how they changed over
Yes.
from the unofficial. The first thing is we had one military ballot come in,
Okay.
and that was processed and added in. And that's kind of a normal absentee number, so that number changed by one.
Okay.
All of the changes were to the provisional ballot numbers. The first thing is, with the absentees, we had two that were curable become cured.
Also 100% curable?
Well, I don't know how many.
No, we had
were-
80.
81.
81. Okay.
Yes.
So two of the 81.
Yeah, so two of them, were cured.
Okay.
Um,
Did great.
And so then what that left is, that gave a total of 326 provisional absentees that were counted.
Okay.
And 275 election day provisional ballots that were counted.
Okay.
And so the total number of those provisionals that were counted was 603.
Yes, that tracks.
And we are left with, the unauthorized was 121, 79 absentee and 42 election day. And those 603 were added in to the tabulation and they're reflected on the documents in front of you. Okay.
601 were added into the tabulation.
Thank you.
Two they did not have ballots.
So there were 603 on the report, but only 601 actual votes.
So we had what, empty ballots returned to us, or empty envelopes returned to us?
Correct. Two provisional ballots came back. No ballots in the envelope. We were presuming they either in the voting machine on election day. I'm not sure, but they were not in the provisional ballot envelope.
Okay.
Therefore, we cannot have it.
Do you think they show up for that? Do you have anyone to show it?
For the tabulation, no, we did not, we live streamed it on YouTube.
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy, so there was 121 that were not tabulated, is that correct?
Yes.
What was the breakdown of that again?
79 absentee provisional and 42 election day provisional.
Thank you.
You mean early vote and election day?
Correct.
So 79 early vote, 42 election day.
I don't have a breakdown of early vote versus election day, they're all grouped together.
Just in person.
Just in person, yeah.
No, so it's still 79, it's still absentee, but the 42 includes, that's in person.
It's in person.
Some provisional numbers on our unofficial official counts reflect, are they actually reflected of the current provisionals? Numbers when the absentees are taken into account? When we upload the absentee numbers, does it remove the absentee provisional and put that in the absentee category and take it out of the provisional category?
They were tabulated in the provisional category.
So the absentee doesn't take it out of the absentee category, puts it into the provisional category?
Right, they were made a provisional.
Okay, I was just curious if that question was asked previously. So it is calculated, put into that category.
Good question.
So what do you need us to do next?
So we just need to certify, right? That's our next step?
We need to do the provisional certification first, and then the results.
It should be in order there, you've got the provisionals first, and then you've got working down.
All right, let's get going, let's rock and roll then. So, our provisional ballot certification, who wants to make this motion? Would you like this to make this? If there's any additional discussion, Commissioners, any additional discussion?
So I moved to certify the provisional ballots, what was that, 601 provisional ballots for the December 1st, 2020 general election runoff.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Who's going second?
Sign it. And that's the one that Mr. Kennedy needs to sign?
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy, come on down.
Madam Chair?
Thank you, sir.
Today is the 14th.
It is. And so now we have our provisional certification. And then our certification of election results. Mr. Camp, what's the difference between these two certificates?
One is for the school board and one is for the overall process. So the school board just has a survey of the election, it just needs signatures. The other one has all of the documents for certification.
You guys do much on certification?
So we did one motion of certification of election results.
The thick one is the official certification. The second one is your signatures go to the school board.
One motion.
Oh, well, yes.
One motion.
You want to do
I make a motion to certify the election results for the December 1st, 2020 general election runoff.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. And then this goes with the municipality.
Yes, that will go to the clerk's office and it will be delivered to the.
So one motion does all three of these stacks to the self-certification.
Yes, that last motion should cover everything there.
And that's just for everyone who is watching, so they know what we are doing with all these. And as well as the certificate of election for the winners of the races. I guess, we failed to do what we normally do. This is on me. We also read the results. So Commissioner Price, you would do the honors as far as reading the results in, since you would have them in your hand. So you're, so you're. And we have 2 copies of these because they go to different places.
One's a bulk copy and one goes to the actual candidates.
Okay, so the official results for the December 1st general election runoff, just for the record. For North Little Rock Mayor, Tracy Steele had 4,946 votes, or 46.43%. Terry C. Hartwig, 5,707 votes, or 53.57%. For North Little Rock City Council Ward 3, Ron Harris had 955 votes, 60.91%, and John Parker had 613 votes, 39.09%. There were 0 overvotes and 164 undervotes. Oh, let me backtrack. For North Little Rock, there was 1 overvote and 7 undervotes. My apologies. For Little Rock School Board Zone 3, Tommy Branch Jr., 217 votes, 33.33%. Evelyn Hemphill Callaway, 434 votes, 66.67%. 0 overvotes and 1 undervote. And for Little Rock School Board Zone 6, Franche Anderson, 211 votes, 42.63%, and Vicki Hatter, 284 votes for 57.37%. 0 undervotes, 0 overvotes, and 0 undervotes. You are welcome.
Our Betty's back over here. Get those. Well, I guess it's just probably very good. Okay. Now, it's not officially written on the agenda, however, we need to address this. We have our county reimbursement request for the March 3rd, 2020 preferential primary nonpartisan general election. We want to get this processed as soon as possible. So, Betty, are you able to, anything you want to tell us about this? I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. Anything remarkable or that we need to know about as far as the reimbursement? It looks pretty standard, but it's
No, it's pretty standard. Part of it is the school election, part of the election. That paperwork has already been billed to the schools. That part, the rest of it just needs to go to the state board. I didn't bring the backup paperwork because it's in a box.
Okay. It seemed pretty light. I will say that this is a little smaller than we normally see.
If you would like the box, I'll give it to you.
I'm okay. It's the same exact process. The number keep track. And quite frankly, I forget, do we need to move for the reimbursement? We just sign it?
Yes, please.
Do a motion?
You do a motion on it to approve the amount that's being requested to be reimbursed from the state.
Would you like to do the honors? That was going to the state.
For the grand total?
Grand total, $300 and some odd thousand.
Okay, I make a motion resolution for the county reimbursement for the state for the March 3rd, 2024 virtual primary nonpartisan general election, the amount of $317,481.81.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay. So, other business. FOIA requests, there were a large amount of emails that have come in as of late. There's a discussion regarding FOIA requests, and I guess subpoenas as well. So Mr. Camp.
That's extra.
Yep, that's all vague stuff right there. Thank you. So Mr. Camp, sent us copies of,
I sent a response to Sean
okay,
separately, does not violate FOIA, and asked him to send more response back. On the FOIA.
well, I have the email from Mr. Camp this morning, the original request from Ms. Senator. Oh, did we not sign last page?
School board.
Oh. The double-sided got me.
I don't know if you got my response, but we already addressed at our last meeting that we cannot open fill boxes, and we will only do so with a court order.
And I think it.
And that should have already been responded to Ms. Stanford.
I think she'll go with next time. Okay.
I assumed that had already been responded to her
I
after our last meeting.
hope so, Mr. Camp.
Well, I have not responded to any of the parties. I will defer to the county attorney.
Do we know if Mr. Code did when we made this decision at our last meeting? Do you have any knowledge about that?
I have no knowledge of that.
Did you respond to Ms. Stanford?
She is aware that the boxes were sealed. She is aware that we were awaiting direction from a competent tribunal is what the law says. And the subpoena from the Claims Commission does direct that the boxes be unsealed. So that is direction from a competent tribunal. So that information, my understanding, that information is being gathered today and to
Could you get a copy of that? Let us get that.
see what
That where the Claims Commission, which is not a court of law, said that we're supposed to open unsealed ballot boxes.
it's in the subpoena that was issued by the Claims Commission.
Could you give us a copy of that?
Sure.
Are you able to get that, we get a hard copy of that? Are you able to get that? I know we have returns, right? Because we should have capability.
Because I haven't seen that regulated copy.
It's the, no, it's the short one, it's issued. Yeah, I forwarded it on.
Okay, well, while that's, Coleman's getting us that information, we will suspend our discussion about this. Move on.
It's short, but it's
We have some other business. Planning commission request, looks like that's being covered right now, so hoping to get back to us. Bryce. Last meeting, there was a report of Bryce, you made a report. We have any follow on that, was there law enforcement notified?
Yeah, because we're not properly using the proper venue to stream this, our meetings, we can't capture that at the right time. Took me forever to get a copy of that.
Okay.
and there is no way of reporting that because it's anonymous accounts.
But you did get a screenshot?
Finally,
Would you mind sharing that?
how about you got it?
I did.
I requested the center to send it to all of you.
I did not receive it.
Did not get anything. Who'd you request it of?
That's right. Jody, but they sent it to me.
I requested it for him as well, so just.
I was there when I sent that request back, and they sent it to them.
No, I received it.
I'm trying to,
There's no reason.
I'm trying to avoid FOIA violations by not directly
No, thank you, I
emailing.
appreciate that.
I understand that. I assume the authorities can still be informed even if it's a.
I reached out to contact, but it's an issue, but there's another issue with that because of the way that the feed is and how it disappears off the screen, that's a bigger issue, because we might be in a violation of how those comments are not staying and they're disappearing. So we have a different issue we need to address with that. And I had mentioned that in my email response, but we need to address that issue because they did not retain those comments.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. We need to
So is
know.
that like a YouTube settings issue, or
I don't know.
that's a tech issue for?
We don't use YouTube and state government, so we stream things in a different way.
Mhm.
We actually use like Zoom, WebEx, Teams.
I don't see
We can
Jody.
capture the chat and it continues.
Mhm.
Exactly.
You know, you can always, you have that chat always there, it's always record, you know.
I mean, I can't be 100% certain, but I feel like that's a settings issue on YouTube. Surely there's a way for you to track comments.
I don't know if we have like a subscription to YouTube, if we're using like a free version.
New version.
YouTube isn't sitting on Nintendo Voice, I know we're doing a lot
And it's something Jody could definitely look into.
Yeah, but we need to do it pretty quickly because we're in violation.
If we're not holding on to it.
We're not
that's a
holding
problem.
on to that information.
That's a problem. We need to fix that now. So do we need a motion to, we'll take care of it, just 1 second, we'll take care of your issues. For this issue,
But it's regarding this issue. Is there concern that the comments aren't preserved?
Yes.
right,
The comments are preserved in the video. In the
The way-
same sense that somebody appearing here and providing a comment is preserved in the same manner. It's not, FOIA doesn't require you to mark down a particular piece of paper or.
Required us the new law in 2019 that passed requires us to report our meetings.
Yes, ma'am.
So if there are comments made that are because the people are not present, comments are being made on the live stream where they're typing in those comments, we still have to record that information. And the way Jody explained to me that in during the live, when people are commenting, it disappears off the screen, you have to capture it, basically a screenshot it to capture those comments because they're disappearing off the screen.
Right. So my question is, when you go back and watch the video,
I can't see it.
those comments don't reappear?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
That's the issue. It's not like, you know, when you go in, you look at a video, you know, some videos you can see everything people says. And you can read all.
Yeah,
This is
you can
where you
see.
can't see anything.
And
So
it's
that's a
post a
different
comment.
issue because you have that issue where in the reporting, you have all the information that's happening during the meeting and we can't capture that now. So that's not talking about the violation. We don't have that information captured. And that's especially disturbing when people are threatening you.
And I don't know if that's a settings issue. I don't.
I'm assuming it's an account, like, probably either we have a free account because, you know, again, I stay away from YouTube if I can because it's just has so much stuff on there that's not appropriate for my child. But I've noticed that on YouTube, I look at like a certain type of music video, you can see thousands of comments underneath it, depending on how many hits it has. They do have some kind of generic videos on there. They want you to give us any kind of comments. So I'm assuming it's the level of subscription we have, or we have maybe a free subscription.
but either way, Jody's our guy, and Jody's not currently, it's not here at the meeting.
No, and I did think this, I told them that we need to do something about that very soon, because we have to capture those comments.
Okay.
And if not, then what we're gonna need to do in the interim is we need Betty to capture those comments during the, when she's doing the minutes, and go ahead and write those down.
Right.
So at least we capture the comments. That was my fix for the moment.
Okay, so we need a, you want an official motion, or you just want to circle back with Jody?
I'm pretty sure I emailed that to her correctly.
Okay, well, this is the first I've heard of it as far as that goes.
I'm sorry.
Is there a copy for all of us, or just one copy?
This is the only copy you,
We've got a machine, we just make a
Was
copy?
this emailed today?
no, that was several days ago.
Did it come to us?
It was to, me and Mr. Coe.
Okay, so we haven't received this.
Okay, can you make a copy, please, for the commissioners?
Okay, you want 2 more copies?
Yes, please.
Yes, the commissioners need to see this.
And has this been acted upon without us knowing about this?
I don't know.
Mr. Coleman, you got that information? Is this acted upon without the commissioners?
Has the subpoena been acted upon?
Okay. Have any actions been taken?
It's not to Braun Cove, it says Braun Cove and then Flossie County Election Commission. You can make a copy of it.
I think he's going to.
Oh, okay.
So, Mr. Coleman, you have that knowledge?
I have not been here today. I'll leave that to, this.
Yeah, I don't know this one.
While we're waiting on that, Representative Cervilla, I think, had a question for us. So let's go ahead and use our time wisely. What was the question you had, sir?
I had someone that had been watching online,
Uh-huh.
could not, the audio could not hear or understand at all.
Okay. Thank you. Is there a recommended fix for that? Do I need to talk louder?
Thank you, Sean.
Probably recommend that, but, so,
I think you've been historically plagued by audio issues.
Well, and we
in
don't
this room.
have, where's our microphones? How come we don't have microphones today?
I'm not sure, but even with the microphones, people seem to have issues hearing this, so I don't know if you
It's
need,
the math.
It's the masks.
maybe we need to have a mic, like clip-on microphones on our lapels.
Are we just saying the county does remove the mask requirements if we're 6 feet apart and we're talking?
Yeah,
All right.
do you want us to, should we request the county judge do that?
That'd be great.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I don't think he does it for the quorum. Make a motion to request the county judge allow us to remove our masks when we're in meetings and if we're socially distanced more than 6 feet apart while we're conducting a meeting from live streaming.
I second that.
All those in favor? All right, Mr. Camp? That's, since Mr. Coe is not here, that falls upon you. You can make that request, let the commissioners know, what the answers are, and before you send it, Star or Price, would one of you like to be the person who checks that out before it goes up?
Commissioner Bronson.
Price, you would do that,
Sure.
Mr. Camp? So, Mr. Camp, if you could get with Commissioner Price, before that request is made, and then I trust you, I think we'll trust you judge as far as that request.
Thank you.
And then once it's sent out, if you could send a copy to the commissioners, and then when there's a response, also kindly send a copy to the commissioners. Thank you, Mr. Camp. Okay.
So what is the process you're going to follow to unseal a box of ballots, and how are you going to do this with some of the, with Director Coe not being here?
John, I think I have questions to you.
Oh, okay. Boxes were brought up, today. The relevant boxes were unsealed on the live stream. We had election officials to go through the documents and find.
Which election officials?
Excuse me?
What election officials?
Well, let me rephrase that. We hired some people to administratively look through boxes. They didn't have to be election officials. But we hired some people to look through the boxes, and they found some of the materials that we were looking for, and we put materials back in the boxes and moved the boxes back into a secure room.
And this was done today.
Correct.
Is there a reason that the commissioners were not informed of this?
No. I was following the directions of my superior and county attorney.
Was the directions not to inform the commission?
Was that a question?
Yes.
I didn't hear.
Were the directions to not inform the election?
No, those were not the directions. The directions were to fulfill the request in FOIA.
Did y'all seek the advice of the state board before doing
As far as I know, they're not a party, but
this? They are the overseer.
I asked for advice from the county attorney and received it.
Adam, did you talk to the state board?
I have previously spoken with the state board.
What did they advise you to do?
I have not spoken with them specifically about this issue. However, in the conversations that I've had with them, they have advised that one of the questions that I asked of them was with regard to whether they would order unsealing based on receipt of a FOIA request under 75702. It does make reference to during the time the ballots may be retained or stored, the package containing them shall not be opened by anyone unless, I'm going to skip one, and I'll come back to that later. And two says, on written instructions signed.
Sorry, 7 more, what, hold on.
75702.
702, okay. I'm there.
Subsection C. And subpart 2 says, upon written instructions signed by the director of the State Board of Election Commissioners. They indicated under 74121. 74121 specifically refers to an audit being performed either by or at the direction of the State Board of Election Commissioners, and that provision did not apply. Instead, they said that so long as the ballots are maintained in the custody and control of election officials, poll workers, sworn election officers, that the boxes could be unsealed to satisfy the FOIA request, understanding that there are materials other than ballots that are, we'll say, commingled. More precisely, absentee ballots are returned and still contained in the packaging along with voter materials, which was the information sought by this FOIA request. I'm not comfortable with the advice that they gave, which would have authorized the unsealing of boxes prior to what is provided in C1, which is directed to do so by some competent tribunal before which an election contest or prosecution is pending, in which the ballots are to be used as evidence. And we currently have a subpoena, which you have in your hand, that directs the the unsealing of those boxes.
So why was the comment made that this is not done by election officials?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I was just.
Circle back to that.
Well, I mean, they were people that worked the absentee process, but my understanding was they didn't have to be, but they were.
So who were
I
these?
just heard Adam say they had to be election officials.
Okay, and they were, but
So who
my
were-
understanding, that was not made clear to me when I hired them, but they happened to be,
Okay, who'd you hire?
our absentee workers.
Which ones?
So you have, let me go back, because we appoint all election officials, not the staff. We only appoint election officials for this election is ended on November 18th. So, I guess I'm a little confused here,
Yeah.
but how do you hire, if you don't have the power to, election officials, if we haven't appointed any to do this function, if we weren't aware of it? You see where I'm going here? The staff does not have the power to appoint election officials. The staff cannot hire election officials that we have not appointed. That has expired, that November 18th date is over, the election is done. This is a new event. This is different. We did not appoint anybody. So therefore, no one was qualified to go do this. This goes back to the same issue that we've been having.
So if I may address one point, you took away from the first comment that the work needed to be performed by sworn election officials.
Yes,
And
correct.
that was a reference to my conversation with the state board.
Okay.
You are now in possession of an instruction from a competent tribunal that commands the unsealing within 3 days of receipt.
Right.
And I believe it's 3 working days.
It's
Just
a
3
3
business
business
days.
day.
3 business days.
Right,
Okay.
Yes.
right. So we couldn't call a meeting and appoint election officials.
We could have if we were notified.
We just want to follow the law and make sure that we're doing everything as clean as possible with as many mistakes as we have made and responsible for in this election. This election ended November 18th, we certified. The election officials that were appointed for that election. And kind of like the people that were serving of their day, they didn't understand this was a new election for the realm. So this is an event, and while it applies to that election, the election officials are not applicable to this event. So that's why I asked the question, did you talk to the state board about how we should approach this? Because this is new territory. You know,
I don't want to approach any of the commissioners, were you giving any notification on this?
I was not.
I want us to do everything the right way and making sure we're getting the right advice, talking to the people we're supposed to talk to, and the staff, while I respect that they have certain duties they need to do, when it comes down to, we've had this discussion, we had a very long discussion about this, the staff does not have the authority to appoint election officials. And that has expired, because that ended when the election ended. This is a new event on the election. In fact, if I understand the lawsuit correctly, is to have a new election. So, it goes to, again, having trust in the process.
All right, Mr. Camp, you mentioned you went on what your superiors told you. So
Yes.
who instructed you to do this?
Mr. Poe,
So Poe is the one who,
And is Director Poe on leave?
yes.
Was anyone going to let us know that he was going on leave?
I found out by happenstance when I received an email and then asked Mr. Poe to respond to it, and he told me that starting the next day, he's going to be on leave until, I believe, March 11th. Is that correct?
I'm not sure exactly.
That sounds. Okay. So apparently he's gone until mid-March.
I'll say that Mr. Coe had previously told me that he would be going on paternity leave.
I'm glad he told you.
But did not give me specific dates as to when that would be. He said after the election. I wasn't sure when his wife was due or whatnot. Or this is like like a month ago.
Is it 7572?
He said nothing to me until I sent an email, and the response was, thank you for your email, I'll be out until March 11th.
I saw that email as well. When I emailed him.
You said there was an email that came across?
It was like an auto response.
No, it wasn't an auto response.
Oh, it was not? Oh.
No. It was an auto response. I would have received it from other emails that were sent. This is, he just replied to my email.
Gotcha. I got an auto response on Friday.
I don't believe it was an auto response.
Oh,
If it was, I would have gotten those for multiple other emails he was talking about.
right.
But would you like me to read you the emails so you're aware of it?
No. Just send it to Sean and send it to me, please.
Sure.
Sean, I have a question.
Deadline.
A clarifying question. For these poll workers, these absentee poll workers that you brought in to process this subpoena, this request, were these absentee poll workers that we had appointed during the November 3rd general election, or were these poll workers that we had appointed for the runoff?
Probably both.
Both?
What are the names of these people?
How many in total did you bring in?
I don't know exactly how many. I think there were about 25 or 26.
Okay.
This was not anybody we decertified, correct?
Well, I mean, there's not an election going on, so nobody's been decertified.
Was there anybody that we recently decertified?
There may have been.
So he gives them the names to the commissioners. I presume you have a list, correct?
Yeah, you would
Yeah,
like that list?
yeah, you got it. Email it to the commissioners right now, please.
Don't have an email. I can make a copy.
Yes, I do, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
One of my questions was that if they had been certified for this second election, at least they were still.
We're still not.
But it's different, that's a different one.
I know.
I-
They're still.
I get what
see
you're,
what
I
you're
get what
saying.
you're doing, I get what you're saying though, but it's still not, it's still a separate event.
It is, but I'm
The way
trying,
the statute's written,
I was trying to understand the process.
I.
Perhaps they thought, okay, well, these folks are still active, so let's just use these folks.
Right.
And
Not, perhaps realizing we need to recertify another group.
I'm just trying to understand why people just simply want to contact us.
yeah, not being in the loop of something is, to this magnitude, is quite frankly egregious.
No one's against us filling the box, we just simply said we
Need
need
a heads
more.
up. Right. Just need to be in the
We
loop.
just need to make sure that we do it the right way. But this is definitely not the right way.
Yeah, I have no problem applying. But we don't
We
have
just
to,
don't want to-
we don't have to do that. And just because I can't trust myself with like a single piece of paper, would you mind scanning this and just go ahead and scan it and email it to me, just so in case I lose this piece of paper?
You want that done right now?
Yes, please.
Okay, maybe I'll have to do that.
Okay, sounds good.
Count 21.
Was this live stream? But not announced?
If there was anything else,
Anything else?
Who got it?
so I did not personally send an email, but I did,
Was the media notified?
I'm sure it was like the last one.
What's it does?
I didn't get it, I get those emails.
So when's everybody that does?
I have no idea.
Oh, my goodness. Almost comical.
If it, I don't know, if it wasn't so serious, it would.
I mean, it's.
Okay. Well, this is a discussion about, this is mooted now.
Why are these ones, wait, where did not type that?
Yeah, what's going on with that? We have some that are typed and then we just have some handwritten signatures with no, the other thing.
I don't know, Betty made that list. Some of the people have worked, I don't know.
Well, is Betty still here, right?
She is,
Could you get her, she can answer, if she made the list.
I
ask
just,
her to come.
I just can't read some of the names, so.
Right. That's the only list I have.
You go grab Betty for us, please.
This goes back to that issue of relative supervising one another.
Yeah. I would presume at least
We're gonna change that.
2 folks.
That's not gonna happen.
There appears to be some type of enough.
In fact, let's make a motion.
Yeah, let's do it. Would you like to make that
I mean, I'm
motion?
not wrong.
Okay.
But I make a motion that relatives cannot supervise relatives, coworkers in any official position.
Do we want to say relatives, or do we want to say the members of the same household?
Members of the same household or
Or relatives? Okay, second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, Betty, you got some questions about the list? I think the first question was, how come some are typed and some folks are handwritten?
The type people are the ones that were here on Friday, working with the opening of the provisional ballots that you all approved on the 4th, I think.
Okay, so they're part of the runoff.
So these,
Yes,
yes,
they were part of the runoff.
the top folks were the runoff, poll workers.
They were part of runoff,
How do
yes.
we get the second group?
The second group, I was just told that people are gonna be coming in. I did not have any names. I didn't know who to put on there, so I just left blank spaces. Told them, write your name on there. I could take care of filling in an address and an employee ID number.
Who told you they were coming in?
Sean,
Sean, you said you didn't know who was coming?
Right, I asked Jill to contact a given number of people and see who's available. She's the one that has the relationship with them to get them, and has all their phone numbers wherever they're available.
Who's Jill?
She's
she's
the
at the
assistant
top.
chief
It
judge.
says Andrea Dunlap.
So Andrew's name's actually Jill.
No, Jill is her nickname.
Oh,
Her
so Jill is
first
actually
name.
Andrea.
Yes,
She signed it, after Jill done that.
yes.
Yeah.
So there's actually, in the person next to her, they live at the same address.
Is that another?
What's the person's name next to her?
Leah Thunder.
That's her sister. She just uses that as her mailing address for her check because she's not always at home to receive the mail.
So
Is she
she's a
living-
relative.
Yes,
And then I see, I guess the other Dunlap's the daughter.
Does say Murat, I can't read this one name, is that Murat? I can't read that, M-O-R-A something,
Moriarty?
is that what it says?
I think so.
oh, Mary Moriarty,
Is Moriarty?
yes, M-O-R-I-A-T-Y.
Mary Moriarty. Yes.
So Betty, you have this list typed now, or could you give us a, okay?
I don't have it typed now because their signatures are on that one, so that is the one that I would need to submit to the payroll department.
Well, just in case this becomes some type of evidence, and no matter whatever else comes up next.
I'm
we
sorry, I
have
didn't hear you.
Official list. Just to make sure we're keeping official list of everything. Okay. So what's next on this?
Thank you, Betty. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Betty.
you.
No,
Adam, what's next on Sabina? Have you finished? Or what's next?
I don't know what's the question.
Is there any other?
Have you all submitted the documents, or what's next?
I haven't received responsive documents yet.
And who is getting that
Responsible
together?
for that?
Who's responding to the response documents?
Is coordinating that effort.
Mr. Kim, what other outstanding FOIA requests are there that you're currently working on?
There's only the two that I know of. One from Ms. Stanford and one from Mr. Cervello's counsel, department counsel.
I do want to clarify that Ms. Stanford began as a FOIA request, is now a subpoena from the Claims Commission, direct in response. Mr. Kelly's request for information came only in the form of a subpoena from the Claims Commission, direct in response.
So thank you for that clarification.
Make sure that we are supposed to be, and you might not be aware, but we are supposed to be copied on all information going out to anyone regarding the commission.
And I don't think.
And that needs to be, I guess, promised to either blind copy or however, that we don't all respond, or we're not violating FOIA. So I'm not sure how he was handling that, but he was doing it a certain way. So, Sean,
Also,
Adam, whoever is handling all that, just make sure that we're getting information.
Yeah.
We do not want to be in the dark, especially when we're the ones that are in the front lines of all of this, so.
and
No
also,
surprises, please.
I believe there was a discussion about the PCEC email alias. I thought the commissioners were supposed to be added to that. Did we not have a discussion about that?
I don't recall.
I thought you were going to request that.
It's been a long,
Because the commissioners are not on the list. Anything that the PCEC is not, we don't get copied on.
oh, if there's information coming to that email, no, we don't get that information. What I requested is that's part of the January 1st deadline, that repository is supposed to be. But I haven't seen any movement on that.
I haven't either.
I saw a little bit of movement, it was confusing, because I saw community created instead of a SharePoint site.
I saw that.
But I haven't seen any movement, I haven't seen any documentation yet. So that's January 3rd deadline for access. Which is
Now,
going to be really important with the state board's complaint. Because they're going to want that information.
they are.
So we're going to need. I have no idea what the complaint is on. I'm assuming it's like processes.
Well, since Mr. Coleman is here, and we can get the information since he's here. What do we need to know about the Claims Commission? I believe we were dismissed as a party.
That's correct.
So your involvement is done as far as that.
I'm still the county attorney, I'm still counsel to the election commission and to the commissioners in your official capacity. And there are,
But you also represent the county,
I am
being
an
separate.
I'm an organizational lawyer which means that my office is responsible for representing Pulaski County, the entity, in all its forms, including the election commission.
No, don't do the conflict there.
I do not.
I had my part one testimony or deposition on Thursday. And I have my part two on this Thursday for council members.
This is with the claims commission?
I have two more.
I was contacted, I was initially told Wednesday, and then apparently there needed to be a change, so I think Friday is going to be the day that I'm waiting on. I believe Friday, and then things to the votes that I have that final. Today, I gave, since Wednesday apparently has been working, gave the option of Friday, and I think it's probably, we're going to go forward with that, but I guess we shall see.
And you were all copied on an email that I sent to Mr. Kelly this afternoon, but I'll reiterate, for your purposes, my suggestion would be, to require a subpoena, however, if you won't waive the formalities.
I'll wait for now, that's fine.
If you would like to waive the formalities of the subpoena, that is within your individual discretion.
Yeah, I have no problem with that at all. Okay, well, anything else?
Nothing.
Okay, and we have any public comment, Mr. Servillo, I know you had that one question, but is there anything else?
No, I would, if I have a couple questions, I have a couple questions.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, one question was, the State Board of Election Commission, did they send that request in writing?
What request? Tell us what you're talking about.
About the people to open the ballots. Was that sent to you in writing?
We haven't.
No, it was not sent to us.
We haven't received any information from the
Okay.
state.
Have you seen the list of people that were used?
Just now.
Yes, we just got it.
We have a copy.
And in fact, if you would like a copy of that,
It does have her address on, her addresses on it. I don't know if
is that something that would not be turned over to us?
it could be, yes.
Under FOIA,
Yes, it would be
county
FOIA.
employees are not subject to release.
They're not subject to
Under
us.
FOIA, county employee addresses are not subject to release.
All right, well, we can easily take a marker and mark those off, with one of the staff members, we can.
Like I said, it would be good to have a list.
Yeah, a clean list.
I think
That's also not handwritten,
That's why I said,
just so it
well,
can be, it's more legible.
It's good to have a list.
So this,
Mr. Camp, you should be able to do that, Mr.
Well, I
Martin.
mean, there wasn't a request from the public for that information.
I think Mr. Seville just
Where
requested.
was just now.
He asked if there was a list.
Okay, Mr.
I
Seville.
like to have a list.
There you go. Could you please, since we're here and you have it, could you go there and do that right now?
I can do that.
Mr. Black marker. All right, Mr. Seville, don't leave the building until you get it. Mr. Camp's gonna do this, right, get that list for you right now.
May I ask a second question?
Sure.
And then, as you know, precinct 63 has been part of the conversation.
Okay.
And I'd like to review that, if you could give me a little more insight. From what I have been told, that my ballot style was not available at 63 when the polls opened. Is that correct?
Now,
No.
we as commissioners that were not told that information, but you know who would, Amanda would know that information. So Amanda, are you able to answer that question?
Actually,
I would recommend that because this matter is in litigation, that we let litigation run its course.
Well, I thank you for that, but that wasn't, he just wants to know if there was,
well, actually,
Ballot style
I have a
not
question
available.
about that.
That's not
and
litigation.
It doesn't matter that it's litigation because there was a memo that we did not receive, as a commission regarding that. I was wondering if you would explain the memo.
I don't know what you're talking about at all. What are you talking
I
about?
never, well, we have it on our email now because I just saw it today. And I didn't know we had it because it's part of the FOIA. And in the future, when we receive FOIA emails, it would be really great if someone would say, you need to read this, or this is new information you've never gotten before, it would be awesome. But, there was a FOIA sent out on September, a memo sent out on September 18th telling us that there was a precinct split that was deleted.
No, the split was not deleted at all.
Okay, what happened?
That's why I would like to get signed memo, because we never received this
Can
memo.
I just read the memo?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure. You got it?
Would that be okay?
Yeah, this was on my list and I forgot, I'm sorry.
Mr. O asked me to write a memo to him. I do not know what he did with the memo afterwards.
We never got it.
Because that's, it goes my place to ask him when he did it.
I understand.
I wrote the memo on September 18th to Brian Poe, regarding, a particular ballot style for precinct 63.
What was the date on that again, man? I'm sorry.
September 18th.
September 18th.
All right, I'll just read the memo word for word. This afternoon, it was brought to my attention that a voter looked up their ballot on VoterView and noticed that there were City of Little Rock races on the ballot and he lives outside the city limits. In researching this, I discovered that I had failed to create a ballot style for the precinct split he lives in. The data I received after the rezoning of Little Rock School District contained two splits, both labeled 63.4. One in the city of Little Rock and one outside the city. I mistakenly deleted the wrong one from the spreadsheet, thinking it was a duplicate split. And then I have a screenshot of the spreadsheet on the memo. Therefore, a ballot for those voters was not created. And let me clarify that, it was not created for that specific precinct. After speaking with Jerry Amon at ES&S, it was determined that since we had already printed and delivered absentee ballots to the county clerk's office, that we could just assign another precinct's ballot style to those voters. Ballot style 210 has the exact same races on the ballot that these voters are eligible to vote on. This ballot is for voters in precinct 73. We will have to send an additional DS-200 and express vote to precinct 63 with ballot style 210 program. The clerk's office is changing the ballot style for voters in precinct split 63.4 to ballot style 210 so that all absentee voters will get the correct style. This change will also ensure that voters will get the correct ballot style during early voting and on election day when looked up in the electronic poll book. There are currently 46 absentee voters affected by this. The clerk's office is working to get the ballot style corrected. And I would like to update that they did pull all those ballots before mailing and corrected it to the correct ballot style.
They pulled it before mailing.
They were all in mailing totes and then pulled those 46 ballots and put the correct ballot style in them and then mailed them out. So no one was actually sent the incorrect ballot. On election night, ballot 210 will tabulate into precinct 73 instead of precinct 63. Votes will not be affected at all. It will, however, affect which precinct the results are reported to. So on election day, a separate DS-200 and a separate express vote were delivered to precinct 63's polling place for voters who voted on that ballot style.
So is that why we had the two tape issue?
Yes. So they had two results tapes that they had to post on the door. They had to post both DS-200s plus two tapes on the door. One from each machine.
Thanks for that clarification.
If you would like, I can provide you a copy of them.
Yes.
That would be great.
We have a copy of it in the, I mean, after I answered the question, after I answered this question, I've never seen it. I
If you could just send it to me.
searched for FOIA. We have it in a FOIA that attaches an email, a copy and attachment. But we never received it in the memo. So when I asked that question, well, I had a question about tapes, two tapes, and it was very confusing why there are two tapes with two different numbers. But the issue is also you have misreported under a different precinct. That's much information. So there weren't two set of ballots that went out to the clerk's office, and not sent two set of ballots out.
No.
That's good. Okay, thank you.
That answer your question?
The question, I guess, that I have is that, one number was posted on the window that showed 16 votes. And where did those 16 votes come from?
The two tapes, I guess, is the question.
Is that 16 votes for?
There was two
The two tapes.
tickets on the door. One had 16 ballots or votes.
The total of
The
16.
total was 16.
And then the other,
And the other, I have to look at
had
that.
some larger number than 16.
So-
Amanda, are you able to, does that track, does that make sense?
All I know is they had two results tapes,
Yeah.
one from each machine. I do not know the numbers on each student's tape.
I mean, presumably we can find that information, but just, you don't have to memorize. We don't have to memorize for all of these things. All right, and, I mean, I thought you were like this machine that knew everything.
I tried.
All right, well, I won't hold out on that.
The question is why there are two tapes.
That goes back to the two tapes, and that's,
And that's because of the programming issue. We had to take a ballot out from the precinct to do the exact same ballot phase, just had a different polling location on the top of it. That ballot is programmed to read into precinct 73's machine. So it would not have read into the machine they had out there for their precinct. So that's why they have two.
You have to create two tapes based on the different ballots on
Okay.
precinct 73.
question. Before this was discovered, how many voters were affected?
At that time, it was very early on in the process, the clerk's office had just started the process of mailing ballots out. So at that time, it was only 46, but like I said, they pulled those.
So that's absentee, what about, this is during early voting was discovered, correct?
No, it was discovered September 18th,
Oh, September 18th.
so right after ballots were delivered.
So it did affect
It
it.
did not affect any voters during early voting election day, or absentee, because those ballots were pulled before they were sitting around.
So this issue was caught before anyone voted.
Exactly.
Did that answer your question, sir?
I didn't hear that last time, your comment.
I said, so this issue was caught before anyone voted at all, whether absentee, election day, or early voting? And she said yes.
Well, I understand that. However, the question would be, how did it affect, voting, on the day of the election at Martindale Baptist Church?
It would not, right?
It would not, the voters would check in as normal, the person would issue them that ballot style that it says in the poll book, which would have been the corrected ballot style.
They would have had ballot style number 210.
Ballot style number 210, that is correct.
Not the,
Not
Four.
late, which is what it was before.
Right, they had ballot style 210, which would have had the District 32 race on it,
That's correct.
which I recently reviewed.
And that ballot style was there at the beginning.
Yes, it was. It was delivered
Yes.
inside of the voting machine.
Yes, because we approved that ballot style for that,
Probably we
for
did.
that location. It was Martindale Church. Because I went back and looked at it.
it was fixed for early voting,
Mhm.
and then election day, we had the correct ballots that were printed.
Right.
Right,
Right.
right. It's confusing.
Amanda, were there any other issues such as this that?
We asked for these issues, last meeting.
Yeah.
Not, we're not saying that to you.
No, not you, no, you weren't the one that.
We asked for any of these kind of issues for last meeting.
And we're not provided those. Any additional comment from the public?
I'm checking, nothing for me.
I answered, one that was on Twitter today,
Oh, thank you.
that was posted on the Vote Philosophy. Let me go and find it. And when I answered it, so I just.
Sure. As long as you answer correctly.
Well, I actually answered because I requested, I sent an email a few days ago and asked it to be first if it was not. And then also asked the agenda to be, make sure that Twitter included the actual live stream link, and it was not. That was back in checked, and it was not. And then that's where I saw the comment of this person. Yeah, someone commented, on the 17th of November, it says the place, the public will get a detailed explanation and accountability for a box of 400 to 500 uncounted votes found in Class C County, Arkansas, headline news on November 16th, 2020. Tried to find that on the agenda, and they had copied Don's Rural TV, Blue Hawk Report, Class C Clerk, Arkansas Times, and some others. And then I just responded, this is under review, and once the review is complete, we'll provide it to the public in full transparency. Thank you for your comment.
So it was just the box that we had already determined had been,
Yes, but they're,
The second box that was.
yeah, but they're asking what the law was their question. So when the review is complete, we will let you know.
Do we need to order that review? We have to stay board for that? What's our process for that?
That's one of the things I'm asking the state board for, so that review is complete. From my understanding, that will be elected by January.
Okay, anything else for the commission?
no,
When is we have a next meeting set?
I don't know what our next deadline is, Mr. Camp.
I don't think there is one.
Well, we're gonna want
We have an election in January, so
I've not heard of any elections in January. Oh, your election.
we have one.
all three of us have elections in
Yeah,
January.
all three of us may or may not be here. Yeah. So we want to conclude all our business before,
I did send a request that I have not received it yet, and that was on Monday, I want to say. I requested within 24 hours to have a copy of the contracts, and I have not received them.
request for who?
Our contracts. I sent to Brian, copy Sean, copy Alan. I said 24 hours because and a copy of the phone bill for the past 18 months with certain instructions, because we've been requesting this for several months. So to me, it's well past the FOIA 72 hours deadline. And I shouldn't be having to request that information that many times, and these are our contracts. But I have not received those.
Well, let's set a meeting, so we can address the rest of these things and get this last, we have to approve these last minutes that are,
Say we do it in January.
do it in January? January work for you?
sure, what day?
Beginning, I was thinking before the third week.
I say we do the work session because I want to provide my legislative package. It's a big one.
Yep. All right, so, January. What day?
Maybe like the 6th. The
January
session
6th,
starts on the
Wednesday?
11th. Is that okay?
What's your 24?
I have something in the 6th, but it.
Oh, do you?
Oh, we can,
Oh,
well, here, we can do it any other day.
How, I'm sorry.
Any other day that week works. So
How about,
I have state meeting with it.
okay, what about the,
I'm flexible, so whatever it is that you will likely be big for me.
what about the 5th?
That works for me.
Tuesday the 5th?
Well, I said something familiar though, it's like, there's something familiar about the day on Monday.
Tuesday, January 5th.
At 5?
Sure.
That's
That's
That's good for me. Alright, so our next meeting will be January 5th at 5 p.m. and I guess the agenda would be, let's see,
Legislative items in session and public contracts that we could have by then. and of our January 1 deadline for access to, that would be rolling over to Sean, I guess, of access to all things commission.
Well, if there's, yes, Mr. Servillo.
And so.
We almost made it to the end of the meeting, yes,
I
sir.
know,
Thank you.
I know, I appreciate it.
I'm here for you.
This is a question, and I don't mean to, belittle it.
No, it's fine. What's your question?
If no one received the wrong ballot, how did the absentee voter call in for that amendment mentioned in the memo?
It wasn't an absentee voter.
It wasn't
No, it was a voter who looked at their ballot on voters' view.
Online,
online.
on voter view. On the
They
Secretary
saw
of
the
State's website.
error.
This was before the ballot.
This was-
They saw their sample ballot. It was kind of like the same issue with the David Allen Bubba's issue. Someone saw their sample ballot, saw the misspelling, and then unfortunately, we couldn't correct that issue. The same kind of issue because those are loaded earlier, and then they were able to address that issue.
I mean, if you know the date when this person saw it, was it the 18th or was it prior to the 18th of September?
So she wrote it on the 18th.
I wrote it on the 18th, and it was, so it had been that day, because I stated this afternoon.
So September 18th, sir, so well before it started.
It would have been great if we would have received it then.
Yeah. It sure would.
Anything else for me?
Any more public comment before we end the meeting? Anyone else? Okay. Then we will be adjourned until January 5th at 5 p.m. And unless there's a reason to call especially before then. And I'm not planning to do that, so can't see you all again on Good Thursday. Thank you. We are adjourned.
Y'all have a great Christmas.
Thank you, too.
And New Year's. Our podcast.
Still waiting on my card.
Lisa, always on it?
You know, like 4 boxes sitting in my office.
You're welcome, sir. So, you guys ready for Christmas?
Am I ready for Christmas? That's adorable, Mr. Servillo. Representative, that is adorable.